It's a great pleasure for us to have a partnership between government and business that's not just about talking and talking, but that's about transforming lives. That's about changing the landscape, including the special landscape of our country. That's about making the economy work. And the partnership between government, the city of Johannesburg, the mayor couldn't make it here, the provincial government in Gauteng and Steyn City is a partnership that has really worked. And many of you who may know what driving on William Nicol used to be like, know today, if you live in this area as I live in this area, this is my neighborhood. I don't live quite here, but I live in this neighborhood, so I drive on William Nicol in the northern side of it. I know what a nightmare it used to be to drive, especially to the south. William Nicol south, if you are going to Sandton, and then you are coming this way, it used to be a great nightmare. That nightmare is transformed into a beautiful dream. And that dream is now you can drive very easily. It's still incomplete, but you can feel a transformative partnership between government and the private sector. This is one of the things we are celebrating. Inspired by Madiba, because one of the things that Madiba really worked for in the few years he spent in government, let alone the many years he spent fighting for freedom. But the few years he spent in government, and many don't understand, he spent very few years in government. He sought to get the private sector and government to work together. That's still an elusive dream, but I can tell you, Giuseppe, that this is one of the really shining examples of business working together with government to change lives, to change our economy. One of the reasons so the William Nicol is just an example of an infrastructure, big infrastructure investment program. I know even before I became the Premier, I knew that provincial government was not having enough money to develop the road. But because of the critical catalytic nature of William Nicol to Steyn City development and other developments I'm going to talk about in this part of our city of Johannesburg and our province, Steyn City put money into the development of the road. And I know what we said then. We will see when government is able to come to party. The private sector here, Steyn City, Steyn, Giuseppe, inspired by your leadership, you said, as the private sector, we will put our resources to ensure that this development happens. And when government is ready, government will find us along the way. That's the kind of vision we want. I spoke passionately about this when I gave the State of the Province address. That developments like this, I know there are those who say, well, but this is, a place just, no, Premier, why do you speak about the development for the super rich? And I say, you don't understand. Firstly, an injection of the amount of money put in the provincial economy, in our country's economy, in the initial phase of development, more than 6 billion rands. And the number of jobs already created has made a big impact on the economy this side of our province. People from Diepsloot are here, they'll tell you that even before we get to the prime stage of development of this, we already, as said, and I think I have the latest figures than the CEO, 11,800 jobs. So the CEO has got 300 less. I have 300 more. And that's how close to this development I am. I'm monitoring how many jobs are being created, because job creation is a critical thing. We have to solve the problem of unemployment in this country. To deal with poverty, we have to address unemployment. So when the full development is done, we know you are bringing more than 50 billion rands into the Gauteng economy. And that for us is a vote of confidence in this economy. The global economy is going back. are going terribly wrong everywhere in the global economy. We can only rely on our local business people. We must tap on this and get the money that is in the hands of the private sector to come to play. And government, together with the private sector, will unleash the potential of this economy. I'm very pleased. The other important reason I support this development is because it changes the spatial landscape of Gauteng province. Those of you who were not, 25 years ago, if you drove in this part of Gauteng, it was just horses, Namagrasha. Four Ways was a place for stables. Big plots with horses, and there was no city. So what this intervention, you can see Four Ways has been changing, but the Steyn City development is a catalytic. It triples the impact of the transformation of this space to integrate the south, Sandton, with the north. And together with this, I announced that we're also doing something on the western side. Lanseria, we're building a new city on that side. So combined impact of Steyn City on this side, Lanseria, and on the east there is Waterfall Development, which is another new city. The combined impact of the money put in our economy, the jobs being created, the quality of life being improved, particularly by those of our people who live in the informal settlements of Diepsloot, the areas around Zandspruit, Cosmo City, is huge. So it's only government leaders who don't understand what it takes to change society who would not support Steyn City. So those who were criticizing me in the legislature, especially in the opposition, who were saying, oh, you are talking about private sector initiatives, what government? I say to them, 80% of capital is in private hands. Only a stupid government that doesn't understand that would not want to work with the private sector to make sure we catalyze that development so that we can deal with the fundamental problems. The last thing I want to say is that it's about employment, but it is also about bringing small business people in our townships. I always talk about the people of Diepsloot, they know that. So the next big thing, and I like the idea that you have a training school here. It's not only employment, but we want to see people who come from the township now being part of the small business, growing together to big business. Because a development like this is a lifetime change. It integrates communities, but it also integrates those who were previously left out of our economy. That's something Madiba would be smiling about, because he dedicated his life to unite our people, to bring them together, to build a non-racial South Africa, to integrate our communities, to make sure everybody, these children, grow up looking forward to a future they are settled in. And it is on this basis that we're very proud to be associated with this. We support this development. And if there's anything you want us to do as government, and we do things openly, no underhanded things. We support this development, and we will work with you until we must complete the road to N14. I think this dual career that says, that's my dream, because as I say, I live in this area. It is the dream of everybody. Our roads are congested. That's why Gauteng's future can't be concentrated around those areas that are already landlocked, like Sandton, the traffic jam. We must develop the province to other areas, the northern part of the province, the eastern part of the province, the southern part of the province. I must also reveal, Giuseppe, that we're also working with you on a new city in the south of Gauteng called River City. So this is not the only project that we are working. We are building a new city in the Vaal with them. Our support is open. It's open. We want private sector to bring resources. We as government will come to party. We do our part. The private sector must do its part. And our people must benefit. Thank you very much.